You nailed the technical questions, but when they asked you to explain a past project or walk them through a scenario, you found yourself stumbling. Ever been there? Then you are not alone. Many professionals, especially in cloud data or AI, spend hours mastering tools and certifications, but when it's time to explain their experience in an interview, they freeze. They either give answers that are too vague or they go into so many technical details that the interviewer loses track. If that's ever happened to you, don't worry, because today I'm going to show you exactly how to fix that one using one simple, powerful technique called STAR method. And by the end of this video, you'll know how to turn every question, even the toughest behavioral or technical ones, into a clear, confident, and impressive story that makes you stand out. And if you're serious about acing those AI interviews, I've got something special for you. Check out a free job-oriented masterclass where we dive into AI, machine learning, and agentic AI. Perfect, where our expert shares the proven 3-step framework that has helped thousands of professionals like Steve, Shrija, Mane Kumar, Devashish, and many land their dream AI jobs. The links in the description and pinned comments. So let's start simple. What exactly is the STAR method? STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result. So it's basically a storytelling framework that helps you structure your response when you're asking questions like, tell me about a time when you faced a challenge, or explain a project you worked on recently, or how did you handle a difficult stakeholder. So instead of giving scattered answers, STAR helps you organize your thoughts clearly. You first describe the situation, like what was happening, where, and when. Then move to the task. What was your responsibility or goal in that scenario? Then comes action, like what steps you took to solve the problem. And finally, result. What happened because of your actions? So think of it like sharing a story with the interviewer that highlights your thought process, technical skills, and ability to get things done. Now you might be wondering, why does this method work so well? Because interviews, especially in top companies, are all about evidence-based evaluation. They're not judging what you claim you can do. They're judging how you prove it through past behavior or experience. So when you use STAR, you're not giving random opinions. You are giving a structured story that has context, logic, and measurable impact. So for example, let's take a typical cloud engineer question. Tell me about a time when you worked under a tight deadline. So without STAR, most people say something like, yeah, we had a lot of pressure, but I managed to finish everything on time. Now compare this answer with a STAR answer. Last year, during a cloud migration project for a client, our team had only a week to move 20 on-prem workloads to AWS. I was responsible for configuring the networking and IAM rules. I automated several repetitive setups using the Terraform, coordinated with security for access approvals, and ran dry runs at night to test deployment speed. And as a result, we completed the migration a day early, avoided downtime, and saved nearly 10 hours of manual effort. Did you see the difference between the two? One sounds casual and the other sounds like someone who is prepared, structured, and result-oriented. And that's why STAR works. It brings clarity and confidence to your communication. Now let's talk about behavioral interviews first. These are the ones where you get questions about teamwork, leadership, problem solving, or handling challenges. So here's a real example from a data engineer role. Tell me about a time when you solved a complex data issue. So by using STAR, you could answer this question like this. In one of my previous projects, we were building a data pipeline to move transactional data from multiple sources into Azure Synapse, which is a situation. Now during testing, I noticed inconsistent row counts between the raw and curated layers, which is the task. I investigated and found duplicate records due to schema mismatches. I wrote a validation script in Python to detect anomalies, implemented primary key checks in the ADF pipeline, and used data factory triggers for retries, which is the action. And after the fix, our data quality improved by 98%, and the business dashboards finally matched live transactions, which is the result. So what's powerful here is that you are not just saying, I fixed a bug. You are demonstrating analytical thinking, accountability, and attention to detail, all within one structured story. And that's exactly what interviewers are looking for. Now let's move to technical interviews, because many candidates think STAR is only for soft skills, and that's not true. Even when you are asked to discuss a project or how you handled a technical problem, STAR helps you sound clear and confident. So let's say you're applying for an AI or GenAI engineer role and the interviewer asks, can you walk me through a project where you built or fine-tuned an AI model? So here's how Star makes it powerful. In my recent project, our goal was to build a customer support chatbot using Azure OpenAI and cognitive search. My main responsibility was to design the retrieval augmented generation pipeline and ensure data privacy. I integrated LangChain to manage the retrieval flow, created embeddings using Azure AI Search, and deployed the chatbot through Azure Web App using container instances. And the final chatbot reduced customer response time by 40% and handled nearly 10,000 queries per week without human escalation. So this doesn't just show your tech stack, it shows your ownership, problem solving, and measurable impact. And that's exactly how senior recruiters evaluate technical candidates today. Clarity of thought, structure, and business value. And here's a bonus tip that most people miss. Now, after you finish your star response, add one final layer, which is reflection. Talk briefly about what you learned from this experience. So, for example, that project taught me how important it is to design with security and scalability in mind right from the start. I've applied that learning in every project since. So that one line shows maturity, self-awareness, and a growth mindset, which are highly valued in leadership or senior roles. But let's be honest, even when people know STAR, they often misuse it. The biggest mistake, over-explaining the situation. Remember, the interviewer doesn't need the whole company history, just enough context to understand your challenge. Another mistake is saying we instead of I. Yes, teamwork is important, but the interviewer is assessing your role. So be specific about what you did. And lastly, skipping the results. Always end with measurable impact, even if it's something like reduce latency by 30% or helped improve data accuracy. So that's the part interviewers remember. So to summarize, the STAR method isn't just about following steps. It's about learning to tell your professional journey like a story, with clarity, evidence, and emotion. When you practice STAR regularly, you'll notice two big changes. Number one, you'll stop rambling in interviews. And number two, you'll start sounding like the professional you already are. And that shift in communication from uncertainty to confidence is what Lance offers. And also, if you're preparing for cloud, data, AI, or GenAI roles, start by writing down 3 stories from your past projects using the STAR format. These can be about solving an incident, improving performance, or completing a migration under pressure. And once you have them, rehearse them out loud. You'll be amazed how much more confident you sound. And also, if you want more help with mock interviews, resume optimization, and real project discussions, check out our free job-oriented masterclass on AI, machine learning, and agentic AI. The link's right there in the description and pinned comments. You can also book a free career guidance call with us. The link for that is also provided in the description below. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends who are also preparing for tech interviews. Remember, every interview is just a chance to tell your story better. And now, with STAR, you have the perfect way to do that. Thanks for watching.